And now, Knock 2 Studios presents Common Censored.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Common Censored. Thanks for being here, all of you censored commoners. I'm Lord Sterling, and this is episode 297. SCOTUS betrays parents, allows secret gender transitions in schools, $3 trillion in a gold deposit discovered in Argentina. Alphabet soars on Google's quantum chip announcement as Cocaine Mitch takes a tumble. Make sure to join us Monday through Friday, 6:45-ish p.m. Eastern Time, as we cover all the crazy clown world clusterfuck chaos that is 2024. Wendy knows what's up. Yeah, ish means I'm perpetually tardy. Lord, they don't call me Lord Tardy for nothing. Make sure to use hashtag Common Censored and hashtag infantry when you share the broadcast. You can find us on X at Lord Sterling _. We're also on Truth, Getter, Gab, Minds. Thank you to all of our new followers on Rumble. I think we're like 1,398 right now, so almost 1,400. Smash that follow button if you're new here. Links to all of the sources, articles, videos, etc. that we covered today will be posted down in the video description on Rumble after the broadcast. And Mama Mac will be adding timestamps letting you know when each half hour's worth of content begins. So if you're watching this later on and need to maximize the efficiency of your time and attention, click on down there, find the topics that interest you, and jump to that point in the podcast where we talk about it. Throw Mama Mac some love and head over to alplama.com, your new herbal health guru. And if you want to support the show directly, you can hit up our link tree at Common Censored. Disclaimer. Views expressed on Common Censored are only opinions. Assume everything we say is false and research for yourself. We're not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. The only advice we are giving is think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. Boom! Let's jump into the news. Ooh, still got the Space Force logo up there, the Info Space Force. Starting off the show today, we're going to talk about the Supreme Court stunner reported over here on the Gateway Pundit. Secret gender transitions at schools allowed to continue. What the flying... Oh, man. Some of these Trump picks, man. Some of these Trump picks, they're fucking up. This article was originally by Bob Unruh on WND.com. The lower court said parental rights were not affected when teachers in stealth encouraged children to be trans. The U.S. Supreme Court Monday let stand a ruling that subjugates parental rights to school politics. The ruling that came out of the 7th U.S. District Court of Appeals in Wisconsin claimed that parental rights were not affected when schools secretly encouraged children to be transgender, so the parents had no standing to bring the case. Are you kidding me? Parents have a right to know what's going on with their kids. The parents have the right, the plenary right to make decisions like this regarding their kids and what they encourage and don't encourage. Justices Samuel Alito, Brett Kavanaugh, and Clarence Thomas would have granted the petition to stop this, according to the court announcement, as it's an issue that's coming up more and more. But all the others just betrayed us. Apparently, Alito explained, quote, "This case presents a question of great and growing national importance, whether a public school district violates parents' fundamental constitutional right to make decisions concerning the rearing of their children when, without parental consent or knowledge, it encourages a student to transition to a new gender or assists in that process." Thomas joined in the statement, adding, quote, "We're told that more than 1,000 districts have adopted such policies. It is the transgender ideology, which puts its faith in the science-defying concept that boys can become girls and girls can become boys. It has been promoted literally around the globe by the Joe Biden-Kamala Harris regime in Washington. Actually, being male or female is embedded in the human body down to the DNA level and does not change. Sex and gender are the same thing. Don't let them gaslight you. That's right, Ed. Homeschool your kids. Protect your children from the federal indoctrination system. Hopefully, we can, get rid of all this entirely with Trump getting rid of the Department of Education and everything. Situations involving schools, activists, employees, teachers, and administrators repeatedly getting caught encouraging children to pursue the transgender ideology and keeping those actions secret from parents. The case came out of Eau Claire School District in Wisconsin, where parents sued over a district policy that helps facilitate gender identity transitions while concealing the child's new identity from his or her parents. This is something that should not be addressed in school at all. Focus on math, focus on history, focus on science, focus on learning how to fucking write and think for yourself and question authority. Like, they shouldn't be encouraging things in children's social lives and in children's private lives, in children's medical, assessments and lives. This is insanity. It needs to be completely eliminated from schools entirely. They should have no place in helping discourage or encourage any of this garbage. It should be up to the parents. They should be completely bypassed in school. The Seventh Circuit had claimed in its opinion, which placed schools' ideology agendas above the rights and responsibility of parents. The parents did not have standing to challenge the policy because they had not been directly impacted by it. Oh, so your children and their mental health and well-being and the direction that they're going in life doesn't directly impact the parents? Isn't the parents, prime directive in life is to make sure that their genetic line continues by producing viable children who aren't going to sterilize themselves and stuff? Like, this is insane. Of course, it directly impacts the parents. The parents had said, quote, "As any parent knows, parental authority includes the right and the solemn responsibility to say no to children's often short-sighted desires when necessary, protect them from themselves." This is nothing more than a fad. Except, like, being goth, you can just take off the makeup. Being trans, you can't undo the zipper tits. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is insane. The promotions of transgenderism have become common in many schools, even though multiple studies show that children with gender dysphoria issues to live their lives as their sex according to birth in the vast majority of cases, eventually, if they're not subjected to ideological pressure. So you guys get the drift. This is fucked up. Supreme Court is fucking up, man. Like Dave Chappelle said, Washington is fucking up. Yeah, and Washington is fucking up here as well, as we have breaking. The White House just announced another new $50 billion loan to Ukrainium. This is ridiculous.
The United States and G7 are now making good on that commitment. Together, we will leverage income earned from frozen Russian sovereign assets to provide a total of $50 billion of extraordinary revenue acceleration ERA loans to Ukraine. This will lend vital support to the people of Ukraine as they defend their country, and it also makes clear aggressors and tyrants will be responsible for the damage they cause. The United States and G7 are now making good on...
Incorrigible. Doesn't matter what the people voted for. We're just going to loot from Russia, give it to Ukraine. More wealth redistribution. They're not using our money per se, but this is still beyond the pale. Like, you need to stop right now. Hopefully Congress and Speaker of the House Mike Johnson are able to stop this funding as well, because this is absurd, so to speak. And what else is absurd? Right on cue, we have a new mysterious flu-like disease X, which has killed 143 people in the Congo. And Alex Jones was talking about this on his show today. Looks like they're planning a new outbreak, guys. Are they going to try all that crazy stuff from the pandemic again?
An unknown disease has claimed 143 lives in southwestern Congo province in the Democratic Republic of Congo this month. Local authorities report flu-like symptoms in the victims, including high fever, severe headaches, Women and children seem to be the worst affected by this mysterious disease. A medical team has been deployed to the health zone to collect samples and identify the disease. The situation remains dire. Lack of medicines in this rural region is leading to many dying in their homes without treatment. Civil society leader calls the situation extremely worrying as infections continue to rise. The World Health Organization confirms it had alerted the country's authorities last week about the illness and is now working with Congo's public health ministry to investigate. This comes as the country is already battling an mpox epidemic with over 47,000 suspected cases and more than 1,000 deaths reported. For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
So, you think this is going to spill across the borders and infect people here? Probably. They'll probably use this for new jib jabs, new who knows, man. Yeah, just like Peter Hotez said, Sam Duty, January 21st, that's when all this new stuff is going to begin. Maybe they're pulling the trigger early on this one. How about we check in, and if Jones posts his segment about it, we'll go check out more about this in a little bit. But let's check in with White Dudes for Kamala and see how they're handling the election loss. Libs of TikTok saying, "What fresh hell is this?" The extraordinary work of men breaking free from anger and shame. Healing in real time.
Feeling the love of your brothers and the support of your brother.
Oh! This fucking clown world. You guys should actually be fighting. What is this? Yeah, exact, Donna. Quiz. Bunch of quiz. Oh, man. We need a palate cleanser after that one, right? Let's jump over to the Gateway Pundit, who released a heartwarming video as a bearded man in a store plays along when a little girl mistakes him for Santa Claus. And the Mike Chance put this one together. Need a respite from the chaos. This is a pretty good one. Let's hop over to X to Defiant L's as this man plays along after a little girl mistakes him for being Santa. Cute little video.
Excuse me. What do you think? Santa, I've been told a lot worse. Have you been a good girl this year? You have. Wow, that's real pretty nails. Are you getting ready for Christmas? Put up your tree yet? Oh, right. Is it pretty? Oh, that sounds nice.
Tell Santa what you're going to leave him.
What you gonna put out for me this year? Can I eat them all?
What are you going to leave for Rudolph?
I mean, he does look like Santa.
Oh, right. I have to share with the reindeer.
Liquor Giant, what up?
The reindeer get to rest. They eat grass, though. You're right, they do. But up North Pole, grass is pretty hard to come by. It's all snow grass. Yeah.
You better tell him bye. Let him get back to his shopping. Tell Santa
I've got a
bye.
lot of little kids to buy for. And I've got a lot to make.
Say thank you.
You have a Merry Christmas.
She just
Reminds me of when I was like 4, being wheeled through the mall in a stroller or something. And I saw a big black dude and I was like, it's Michael Jordan. My parents were like, that's not Michael Jordan. At least that's what I'm told. Apparently when you're 4, they all look the same. And it goes for old white Santa looking folks as well. Oh man, let's hop over to InfoWars for this little update on their whole situation. There is an ongoing hearing right now in Texas to decide the fate of the InfoWars broadcast studio. Must-watch extended coverage tonight. Could this be InfoWars' last broadcast? They started streaming again at 6 p.m. Central for special coverage tonight because it could be the last show, guys. Could be, hopefully not, but craziness is going down with lies and deceit in the courtroom. Let's check it out.
So we're never shutting down one way or the other unless they pull the internet off. We'll be at the Alex Jones Network tomorrow if we do get shut down tonight. But tonight, it could be the final epic InfoWars broadcast. Join us, everybody you know. Tune in now.
I think we're about to get some breaking news, so let's just go ahead and hold the phones here for a second. Alex Jones joining me now.
The judge says he's going to 11 o'clock at night if need be. He's probably going to rule today on the future of InfoWars. He's in day 2 of this. The bad guys just finish hogging all the time. They get like double the time. They just never shut up. They just said that I said I'm never going to stop attacking the Sandy Hook families last night on your show. But of course, they didn't play a clip of it. Which we have free speech if we did. That's fine. We didn't. I said I'm never going to stop suing Bloomberg, the Democrats, for this lawfare.
Of course, they're twisting
and for them lying about us and raising money off of me while saying I was attacking them. That's not what I said. So they lie. Oh, he needs to be off the air. He's attacking these people. They sued me. They raised money off me. They claim we obsessed over them. We barely ever talked about them. They entered 22 minutes in evidence in their show trials of me talking about them. I hadn't talked about them in years before they sued me. So the point is that they want to shut us down. They admit they want to shut us down. This will be the last night in these studios. I don't know what the judge is going to do because they all got up there. Chris Murray, all of them just lied. But the truth's all right there in the documents. They changed the bids 3 times since the final bid to try to make it make sense. With all this fiat money, made up money doesn't even exist off of future earnings of Alex Jones they're buying the company with. So it's no one's ever seen it. They admit no one's ever done this. The auctioneer, the U.S. trustee, no one's ever done this in bankruptcy or an auction in history. But it's totally normal, Owen, and they didn't tell the real people that won that they could use credit or derivatives. They said only cash. So anybody else had to use cash. They could do whatever they wanted. So this is insane.
Totally insane. Skunk, is chat not working for you? I can see you over there mixed in with everybody. Sorry if you're having tech issues.
I got a bunch of stuff I got to do. I got a bunch of decisions I got to make. If you can, stay until 6:30, go into overdrive, and then I will take over out of the other studio with the crew here. And you're welcome to stay with us, Owen. I know you got a lot going on. We'd love to have you here. And you talk about, this isn't like some roulette wheel where you put $100 down and you get a thrill out of will it land on black or red or whatever. This is the real world in this historic studio and the stuff that's going on here. We've survived so many times. A lot of folks have normalcy bias. I don't. And so I've never had butterflies this big because it'd be one thing if they had a bigger bid and took it. But they didn't. It's just everything with these people is corruption. I'm about the
Right. Who cares if he said he's going to keep suing these people? Did they make legitimate bids? Was the auction legitimate? That's what we need to worry about. Oh, not what did Alex Jones say last night about how he's going to sue the families and Bloomberg and everything. Like, give me a break. Was it a real auction or was it not? Clearly, it was not.
Lawyers, the Democrats. And every time I talk about them, they hide behind the families that I've explained are just their front group. I'm talking about the lawyers, the Democrats, the deep state, the lawfare, the Obamas, the Clintons, the Klaus Schwabs, the Bill Gates, the Faucis, not these people. Only said the name of like one of them. You just mentioned a Zero Hedge article and they sued you and found you in default. You're evil, Owen, you're hot. Read one Zero Hedge article on air that didn't even say anything. And that's what they did. So we're never shutting down one way or the other unless they pull the internet off. We'll be at the Alex Jones Network tomorrow if we do get shut down tonight. But tonight, it could be the final epic InfoWars broadcast. Join us, everybody you know. Tune in now. That is a badass shirt. That is the best.
So we'll keep our eyes open throughout the rest of the show tonight. And if anything happens, we will announce it as it's announced on InfoWars, hopefully. But hopefully the judge is able to see through the smoke and mirrors and make the honest, logical decision, which is that the auction was crap. If it's not Scottish, it's crap. And, that auction pretty much fits that. So we have some other interesting breaking news about Matt Gaetz, who will be joining One America News, hosting The Matt Gaetz Show during prime time. Awesome news. Agreed. He's made some posts about how he may run for Florida governor, about how he could be a special counsel going after insider trading in Congress. So I think that this is a spectacular way for him to keep his name out there, get his opinions out, take advantage of this this pulpit that he'll be able to exploit for whatever purpose he's got going on coming up soon. But I think this is awesome news. He'll be out there doing his thing. He'll staying relevant as he prepares to make his next moves professionally, politically, by being able to talk to everybody and get a huge audience out there. This is going to be awesome. Like, Matt Gaetz should take over Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, that'd be pretty epic. So this was trending, obviously. Former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz reportedly set to transition into a new role as a host on One America News Network, OANN, where he will anchor a primetime show titled The Matt Gaetz Show. Gaetz' move comes after his withdrawal from the Attorney General nomination and subsequent resignation from Congress. Actually, he resigned before he withdrew, so that's a little backwards there. This shift is viewed by some as an attempt to influence politics through media following his political career setbacks. Good! The Democrats do it all the fucking time. You ever heard of MSNBC or CNN? Who gives a shit? Use it. Use it for politics. Fine. So he posted earlier today, I'm one of only a few members of Congress who's gone through the J6 committee files. Things were permanently deleted, especially in regards to Steve Bannon. This was, debated on the news a lot recently. Oh, there's no evidence that they deleted information. And people are like, well, actually, there was a whole congressional report that said that, yeah, they did delete a whole bunch of information. They recovered hundreds of files. Launching in January, the Matt Gaetz Show. Get hype, because this is going to be based. Matt Gaetz saying epic, reposting One America News. OAN supercharges its primetime lineup with powerhouse Matt Gaetz. One America News Network, OAN, announced today that powerhouse Matt Gaetz will be joining OAN's primetime lineup in January. The former 8-year member of the U.S. Congress and recent U.S. Attorney General nominee will be hosting a 1-hour political talk show every weeknight. Oh, yeah, baby. I like that. 1 hour. So that'll give him plenty of time to do other stuff. This is going to be awesome. I can't freaking wait for this. So this has obviously gotten people excited. I know Ed was a little nervous about this, wondered if he was like abandoning his other political mission, but I don't think so. I think this will just be a good way for him to keep his word right in the public ear as he prepares to make his next steps. So this is going to be awesome. He's also going to be co-hosting a weekly podcast with Dan Ball at Dan Newsman Ball, targeting younger audiences. Can't wait for Gaetz to expose all the corruption and antics going on in D.C. to millions on TV. So this could be one of his vehicles for telling stories that he was talking about corruption, about insider trading. Maybe he'll use this TV show as a platform to expose his insider knowledge about all of this, and then that could lead to him being brought in as AG or as a special counsel for after he demonstrates that he will be the man for the job by having all the inside info. Gator with the memes from Babylon Bee. Trump tells Trudeau he will not annex Canada if they just admit their bacon is just ham. Canadian bacon, it's just ham. Admit it. Everybody knows the truth. Canada. Oh, man. We also have other breaking news as Mitch McConnell, cocaine Mitch, turtle, falls during a Senate lunch, bruising and cutting his face. How many times is this type of thing going to happen before they, you can 25th Amendment the president and get rid of him? Is there an equivalent for mental instability, unreliability, incompetence, degeneration in Congress? Is there a 25th Amendment for Congress members? Get this dude out. Concerns for outgoing Republican leader Mitch McConnell's health are bubbling up yet again. Punchbowl News' John Bresnahan just reported that McConnell fell after GOP senators ate lunch and is currently receiving medical treatment. Medical staff also reportedly came in with a wheelchair and followed him as he left. Ruh-roh. Fall caused McConnell to skip the presser afterwards and left him with a cut on his face. Forgive me if I don't feel bad. This dude is a literal demon, in my opinion. Senator John Barrasso, Republican from Wyoming, incoming whip, told DailyMail.com in an interview that McConnell is okay. Incoming Senate Majority Leader John Thune is asshole, Republican from South Dakota, also said McConnell was fine. He's not fine. He's not okay. He's mentally, gone. He freezes. He falls. He sabotages us. There's got to be something that we can do to get rid of this guy. However, given McConnell's health history, one should be skeptical. As we know, he's struggled with multiple health scares in recent years. He suffered another fall at a Washington area hotel back in March of 2023, was out on an extended treatment for a concussion. Then months later, he suffered another fall in an airport, which was hidden from the press. As a result, he started using a wheelchair, at least temporarily, for crowded situations, all covered here at Gateway Pundit. But the most infamous moment came during the Senate press conference in July of last year, as he froze, man. He frickin' went into restart mode, and the boot got interrupted. Had to be physically assisted, and this happened multiple times. So now he's falling again and bruising up his face and spraining his wrist, and he's been cleared to resume his schedule. Mitch, the glitch, that's right, Omega Directive, glitched out, just making a mockery of this country on the world stage. We have other breaking news as Luigi's manifesto has been released. Here's the manifesto the media refused to publish. Ken Klippenstein at kenklippenstein.com says, I've obtained a copy of suspected killer Luigi Mangione's manifesto. Luigi Mangione, sorry. The real one, not the forgery circulating online. Major media outlets are also in possession of the document, but have refused to publish it and not even articulated a reason why. My queries to the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, and NBC to explain their rationale for withholding the manifesto, while gladly quoting from it selectively, have not been answered. Must be some lefty bullshit in there if they're suppressing it like they did with the Tranifesto. I'll have more to say on this later, on how unhealthy the media's drift away from public disclosure is. But for now, here's the manifesto. Let's read it. I'm not saying any of this, FBI. I'm reading it, scumbags. Quote, to the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. Sure. This was fairly trivial. Some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, and a lot of patience, computer animated design, if you're not familiar with CAD. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists that illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. I do apologize for any strife or traumas, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. A reminder, the U.S. has the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank roughly number 42 in life expectancy. Yeah, you can blame the federal government for that, for meddling in healthcare since like the 70s. Ron Paul went into it in detail, talking about how they took the cheap, effective healthcare. Ron Paul, like, it used to be so affordable, he could give away healthcare to a lot of people. And they made, they introduced this whole insurance system and created this big giant bloated bureaucracy and fuck tons of middlemen and just raised the price of everything. And with, they get like these special protections, and they can charge astronomical prices for like $400 for a Band-Aid and stuff. Like, it's the government intervention that enabled this monstrosity to it's the unholy birth of this monstrosity in the first place. So we need to get government out, break up these cartels. In my opinion, Ron Paul has the answer. The good doctor continuing, quote, United is the indecipherable largest company in the U.S. by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, and Walmart. It has grown and grown, but as has our life expectancy? No. The reality is these indecipherable have simply gotten too powerful, and they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. I mean, the government has allowed them to get away with it. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have space. And frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument. But you're willing to kill over it, even though you don't fucking understand it, apparently. But many have illuminated the corruption and greed, for example, Rosenthal, Moore, decades ago, and the problems simply remain. It's not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I am the first to face it with such brutal honesty. No, Ron Paul is really honest about it. You're blaming capitalism for fascism here, Luigi. Dumbass. So there you have it. The manifesto, allegedly, according to Ken Klippenstein. We also have footage of Luigi Mangione yelling at the press upon arrival at his extradition hearing, struggles with police escorting him out. This is weird, saying it's completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people. Look at this video.
Down.
Oh my God! And it's completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and their lived experience.
Their lived experience. Okay. So the Ivy League graduate Luigi Mangione has now officially been charged with second-degree murder in a fatal shooting of the United Healthcare CEO. I saw people saying, wait, why is this not first-degree murder, especially with the element of terrorism, with this being for political causes? Luigi Mangione, 26, has been charged with second-degree murder in the fatal shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson late Monday night. Charges were filed just hours after Mangione's arrest in Altoona, Pennsylvania, where he was initially detained on weapons and forgery charges. Mangione was arraigned and ordered to be held without bail during a brief court hearing in Pennsylvania. When asked if he required a public defender, he responded by asking if he could, quote, answer that at a future date. The charges against Mangione include forgery, carrying a gun without a license, false identification to law enforcement authorities, and tampering with records or identification, according to the U.S. Sun. Later in the day, the prosecutors charged Luigi Mangione with first-degree murder in the fatal shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, according to court documents posted online per New York Post. Mangione remains in the custody of the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections as he awaits extradition to New York. Now he's been extradited, as we just saw. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has confirmed the charges against him, according to ABC 7 New York. However, the details of the charges will remain sealed until Mangione makes his court appearance in New York at a later date. While standing before a judge at the Blair County Courthouse in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, the judge read the entire criminal complaint against Mangione after he noted that no one had read the complaint to him since he was arrested. Wow, that's interesting. Whilst arguing why Mangione should be denied bail, prosecutors stated that police found $8,000 in cash and $2,000 in foreign currency, which we have an interesting story about that coming up. Prosecutors also claimed Mangione had his passport and a, quote, Faraday bag, which is used to stop cell service transmission, in his possession, potentially trying to cover his tracks and go into stealth mode so he can't be tracked via his cell phone after the 1996 Telecommunications Act mandated that any cell phone made in 2001 or later must be technically capable of triangulating the location of the user to within 3 feet, I think it was. Now they can, pinpoint you to the millimeter. Mangione asserted two key assertions made by prosecutors during the court proceedings. The first was their claim about the cash they found on him. Actually, I want to address two of the things that you said, he says. I don't know where that money came from. I'm not sure if it was planted. Interesting. The second was their assertion that his possession of a Faraday bag, which blocks all cell signals. Mangione countered this by explaining that he used the bag because it was waterproof and claimed he was unaware of any implications regarding criminal expertise. Mangione, Ivy League graduate from a prominent Maryland family, was apprehended at a McDonald's restaurant in Altoona. As you guys know, he had a 3D printed pistol, suppressor, multiple fake IDs, and allegedly the handwritten manifesto. This is all so bizarre. Why would he have it all with him? If the unibrow's too thick, the charge won't stick. Yeah, Liquor Giant. Interesting. I had looked at the things and the pictures, and I had seen some pictures where it looked like he trimmed between. But if on the night of the shooting, it was trimmed, and then just like 2 days later, as he's arrested, it's not trimmed. Looking suspicious for sure. It's all very, very weird. ABC 7 New York reported Mangione was on a Greyhound bus traveling through Altoona, 276 miles west of New York City on Monday morning, sources said, when he got off and walked into a Mickey D's. You guys get the gist on that one. Let's jump over to the next one. Apparently a cryptic YouTube video on Luigi Mangione's YouTube channel aired following his arrest. Regal, I don't know if I can say that. I think I can, but I'm not gonna. Posted this one at Rodney Blue, BLU, on X, premiered on Luigi Mangione's YouTube channel, 2 p.m., 5-second countdown, 60-second timer. Quote, if you see this, I'm already under arrest. The truth, soon, in the lower right after the timer expires. December 11th, disappears once. All is scheduled. Be patient. Bye for now. What the fuck is going on here? So this cryptic video aired on Luigi Mangione's YouTube channel. If you see this, I'm already under arrest. The truth. And it just continues for a minute. What the fuck? This is so weird, man. Oh, something just flashed real quick. The truth. Oh, it just disappeared. Soon. Apparently, December 11th flashed somewhere in there. But it's a minute and 25 seconds long, so we're not going to watch the whole thing at regular, normal speed. This is weird. Liquor Giant says, my theory, this is a psyop just like the New Jersey drones to distract from Israel ramping up in the Middle East. Whiskey Peddler saying, it's a trap. It's a trap, like Admiral Akbar himself. It may be a trap.
It's a trap.
This is so weird, man. So weird. Apparently, this individual had sustained a traumatic back injury. Suspect, Luigi Mangione. Billdozer. Did I see Billdozer over there? What's up, Billdozer? I got to say it right? Luigi Mangione reportedly battled severe back injury before disappearing for 6 months. Family breaks silence on his arrest. 6 months. That sounds like just enough time for a some kind of MK Ultra operation. But apparently his back got all fucked up, and it was preventing him from doing things like copulating, which is not acceptable. Yeah, sudden incel. There you go. Liquor Giant. Exactly. So he was not happy about that. We have Jones talking in depth about this today as well. Let's check out some of this clip over Nya.
Luigi Mangione.
He says, was reported United Healthcare CEO killer Luigi Mangione part of a CIA MK Ultra type program? And why is he connected to the Pelosi's? We know that Nancy allegedly made money off of this whole thing, right? This is all very bizarre.
Luigi Mangione is, I guess, mad how the medical system botched his back surgery, we're told, and he couldn't have sex anymore. That would make me mad too. But what is the message to the system? We don't like you. But I got to tell you, killing the CEO of an insurance company, of a medical group, an insurance medical group, I mean, that's not up at the top. Now, this guy was being investigated for insider trading. He was supposed to testify in 2 weeks.
The CEO, not
he was tied into Pelosi
Mangione,
and insider
obviously.
trading. This guy's tied into Pelosi. He has a classic CIA, like the guy that shot Reagan or the guy
or Sirhan, RFK.
that shot John Lennon, same thing, obsessed with certain passages, certain numbers. That's usually a programming sign. Or it's also a sign of a schizophrenic. Could just be a run-of-the-mill loon. But we'll never know. You know, Theodore Kaczynski, the Unabomber, was CIA. People really go, really? They type and they go, wow, that's LA Times, Associated Press. Yeah. MK Ultra. He wasn't just in the CIA. He was in the CIA mind control program. The Aurora Batman shooter was in a hyper-secret DARPA brain interface NASA program.
James Holmes, remember that?
So I don't think what we're being told about this guy is true. When we get the manifesto, it'll be what the globalists want, full government takeover of healthcare. But still, they'll privatize the cost to the public, but call it communist. So they'll keep the profit in the private, but give the public all the cost. But I don't know what's going on here.
Weird stuff.
The heir to a big fortune, family works with the Pelosi's, goes and reportedly has been charged with it, kills this big insurance company CEO. And then he has a manifesto, basically a communism. And now he just got hauled into the police station there in New York, screaming and yelling. People will play that in a moment. But within this story is something a lot bigger. And it's the fact that, and I got a stack of articles here, it's all over the news, you don't even tell you about it, it's known that the majority of people think he's a hero because they're mad at the healthcare system. They're mad at the cost. They're mad at the bad quality. They're mad at the shots. They're mad at Fauci. That's why Biden's having to get preemptive pardons ready for him. And so that's another message to the system. But why is it a communist that reportedly killed him? Allegedly. Looks like it's him. That implies this is capitalism with big pharma and big medical and big insurance, all basically owned by BlackRock, handful of shareholders.
It's not capitalism.
Setting up this giant fraud. We have some of the worst healthcare in the world. We have the most expensive healthcare in the world. And they call that capitalism. What it is a giant screw job. And now we've got his manifesto, and he wants government health care, and it's like the Unabomber. So take a horrible corrupt system and then
good call,
a fascist system, a kleptocratic system, and then call it capitalism, and then merge it with communism, and it'll still be private profits for the globalists, but even worse for us. Rationing, everything else on top of it. And they already beta tested that with the COVID.
Insider
for
trading
over a year.
type
Oh, you can't have your heart attack or your cancer taken care of or your broken leg. Oh, we're going to not resuscitate people. Remember, they said all over the world. Remember, you're in Australia or the U.S. Oh, in blue cities. Oh, you're having a heart attack. We're not going to even, we're not going to resuscitate you because the hospital's too full of COVID patients. It's actually empty, basically. To get medical workers from the EMTs to the nurses, the nurse practitioners, to the doctors, the administrators, to the coders, to just go, okay, we don't give everybody else health care now. The opposite of the Hippocratic Oath. Oh, but if you're an illegal alien, you still get the health care. So that was all training to become fully corrupted. And over 200,000 nurses and doctors fired in the U.S. alone because they wouldn't take the poison shots. And that was all illegal. And they're winning their court cases, and that's good. But they're going to try it again. And this is a place we've done a great job. We did a terrible job up front as a Western world, buying into the hype, the mind control, the hysteria, letting them for years put our kids in masks, destroying their development, causing massive suicide, incredible levels of bacterial pneumonia from the mask, on and on and on. But we lost the game the first three quarters. We won in the fourth. People finally got pissed. They woke up. That hardcore of good scientists and medical workers and doctors and researchers and talk show hosts and lawmakers like the Surgeon General of Florida, who's super on target, and the new NIH head Trump's bringing in, who was super on target.
Jay Bhattacharya.
You spoke up. We spoke up and saved a lot of lives, exposing it to where they have less than 4% uptake of their new shots. And they have the lowest level since so-called vaccines came out in the last 90 years of people taking any of these shots because people don't trust them now. And they go, oh, you're all going to die because you didn't take your shots. And they go, look at all these people dying. We don't know why they're dying. And it turns out they're all vaccinated. Major studies out of England last week. Oxford. Harvard. Government study. Government database. All of the 1.7 million kids with the heart attacks and all of it from the shots. How many kids died of COVID in the UK? I mean, a kid had cancer, a kid had deformities, they had comorbidity, they still say COVID did it, but no, a few hundred? Now you got millions sick and dying? I mean, this is admitted. So yeah, I'm pissed off at the globalist. I'm not saying you should go kill Fauci because that would turn him into a victim. Turns out he gets $15 million a year of illegal federal protection even after he's out of government. He has 12 federal marshals 24 hours a day.
That's insane.
He's the definition of the deep state. Been there for 46 years in government, still in control of a lot of policy, even though he's supposedly out of the government. And it goes on and on. So, Luigi Mangione is, I guess, mad how the medical system botched his back surgery, we're told, and he couldn't have sex anymore. That would make me mad, too. And that's like if he couldn't eat anymore. That's one of the things of life that's good. God gave us that. And no more ribeye steak, no more sex, no more looking at the stars, no more driving a car down a country road at 120 miles an hour. Doesn't sound very fun to me.
Giant. Thanks, Mama Mac.
But what is the message to the system? We don't like you. But I got to tell you, killing the CEO of an insurance company, of a medical group, an insurance medical group, I mean, that's not up at the top. Now, this guy was being investigated for insider trading. He was supposed to testify in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so he wasn't supposed to testify against Pelosi Omega Directive, just on this insider trading thing.
He was tied into Pelosi insider trading. This guy's tied into Pelosi. He has a classic CIA, like the guy that shot Reagan or the guy that shot John Lennon. Same thing, obsessed with certain passages, certain numbers. That's usually a programming sign. Or it's also a sign of a schizophrenic. Could just be a run-of-the-mill loon.
I'd get rid of the CIA.
But we'll never know. Theodore Kaczynski, the Unabomber, was CIA. People really go, really? They type and they go, wow, that's LA Times, Associated Press. Yeah, MK Ultra. He wasn't just in the CIA. He was in the CIA mind control program. The Aurora Batman shooter was in a hyper-secret DARPA brain interface
too, Wendy. I forgot all about that.
So I don't think what we're being told about this guy is true. When we get the manifesto, it'll be what the globalists want, full government takeover of healthcare. But still, they'll privatize the cost to the public, but call it communist. So they'll keep the profit in the private, but give the public
both of
all
these
costs.
guys are tied to Pelosi.
But I don't know what's going on here. We don't know. We can't believe a word we're told. The suspect in healthcare killing charged with murder. He's the heir to a fortune created by his grandparents, who were big with the Pelosi's and ongoing.
There you go.
Comes from a powerful Maryland family centered on the late patriarch, a first-generation American who built a real estate empire in the state, including country clubs and the media. Billionaires. So these Mangionis are pretty powerful and big with the globalists. Mangione is the cousin of Republican Maryland House of Delegates member Neo Mangione. And I got a bunch of articles about the Mangione's connections to the Pelosi's.
Very interesting. Mangione's connections to the Pelosi's. Real quick, Chase Geyser just posted 1 minute ago. The InfoWars listeners and crew are the biggest heroes I've encountered in my life. Thank you. Pray for InfoWars as the court hearing is coming to an end and its future hangs in the balance. So we could have updates on the InfoWars hearing at any minute, potentially. We'll stay on that.
CEO assassin Luigi Mangione went crazy after giant screws put in his spine called insurers parasites in manifesto. Reviewer slam PA McDonald's after worker tip leads to arrest of CEO killing of Mangione. And here's some of the news articles.
Defending the criminal, the alleged criminal.
About the Mangionis being in business with the Pelosi's. Pelosi fundraiser retained by Palo Alto Networks, and the Mangionis are part of that. Healthcare group reports critical services restored after cyber attack. Sure, a convenient cover for them to disappear some stuff. Luigi Mangione was unable to have sex because of severe back pain. Luigi Mangione, 286 riddle exposed as dental code, Pokemon, and Bible point to murder. Oh, like Catcher in the Rye. Luigi Mangione may have left subtle clue with Pokemon pick. What is the Luigi Mangione 286 conspiracy? So, the globalists are in trouble. People are coming after him everywhere. This could just be a crazy, with all the things you got involved here. I would tend to say it's not. It's a wind-up toy. It's a mind control assassin. That's a real thing. Lee Harvey Oswald worked for the CIA. Unabomber worked for the CIA in mind control. In MK Ultra, look it up. McVeigh worked in secret operations. That came out. Charlie Manson worked for the CIA. That came out. I mean, I can just go on down the line. So when you've seen these, everything, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that should be investigated. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow patriots.
Should definitely be investigated. We saw this already, but the shooting suspect claimed the foreign currency was planted on him. We also have another one. Former classmate of the United Healthcare CEO's suspected shooter speaks to the Gateway pundit. Jordan Conradson wrote this one. Former high school classmate of the person of interest and I detained Monday in the apparent assassination of the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson spoke to the Gateway pundit on Monday, expressing incredulity over the incident. Authorities identified Luigi Mangione, 26-year-old former, blah, 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 blah. Let's jump down here. Their family owns multiple businesses in Baltimore City, Baltimore County, including Hayfields Country Club in Cockeyesville. That's a cool name, Cockeyesville, and a radio station. Is also the cousin of Republican state delegate Nino Mangione, who's been in office since 2019. One source in Baltimore County who's indirectly familiar with the possible shooter described him as, quote, super smart, and said the family is, quote, very well off. Some locals have rumored that Mangione had a bad injury, but who knows? Let's see. He was also valedictorian. His speech is on the internet. Freddie Leatherbury, a former classmate of Mangione at Gilman, told the Gateway pundit that his reaction to Mangione's arrest was, quote, disbelief. Quote, he was such a good kid. He was well-studied and well-read, smart, athletic, socially well-adjusted, and had a lot of good friends, Leatherbury added. Quote, nothing I knew about him previously really correlated to what I heard about him. I was so surprised. Leatherbury noted that the two hadn't seen each other in about 8 years, adding, quote, we were friendly, but just weren't in the same circle of friends, so after high school graduation, I never saw him. Still, he follows Mangione's Instagram page and looked at it earlier on Monday, quote, out of curiosity, and found that he hadn't posted anything since 2021. Apparently, Taylor Lorenz, allegedly, was already following Luigi Mangione on X before the incident, and then she's, like, defending him and, like, saying she's feeling joy about the whole thing and everything. We'll see that in a minute. Still unclear what drove Mangione to allegedly commit murder, if it was him. However, Gateway pundit reported police found a manifesto, which we now have read. Let's see. Next, the brother of the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, has come out to talk about this, saying it's a terrible mistake if Ted influenced this guy. Quote, it really gives me a great deal of personal pain to think my brother's actions have in any way contributed to influencing a man like this to kill an innocent human being, he said. The brother of Ted Kaczynski, this is by Eric Ortiz at NBC News. The brother of Ted Kaczynski, the domestic terrorist known as the Unabomber, said Tuesday that he hopes the man accused in the murder of the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson didn't view his brother as a, quote, key model, unquote, and is distressed that his brother's actions decades ago may motivate violence today. I mean, of course, he's going to have an influence throughout history, man. You're just going to have to live with that. For 2 decades, Ted Kaczynski waged a deadly bombing spree that killed 3 people, injured 23 others until his capture in the Montana wilderness in 1996. Kaczynski had taunted officials with a rambling manifesto and was apprehended following one of the FBI's longest manhunts in history. The suspect in Thompson's killing, Luigi Mangione, an Ivy League tech graduate, had reviewed Kaczynski's Industrial Society and Its Future, known as the Unabomber Manifesto, giving it 4 stars. Which we read some of the review yesterday, but David Kaczynski says that his actions are like a virus, talking about Ted. They could be like a virus unless they understand he was a very angry and disturbed man. Doesn't mean his ideas are the ideas of a lunatic, but his behavior, I believe, is the behavior of a lunatic. Yep, to the extent that he may have attributed at all to sort of normalizing or recasting the violent acts as beneficial to humanity is a terrible mistake, David Kaczynski added. Ted, a Harvard-educated mathematician, railed against technology in his writings and planted homemade pipe bombs targeting universities, an American Airlines flight, and others from 1978 to 1995, federal prosecutors said, writing a 35,000-word manifesto against the industrial technological system that he hoped would create a revolution in modern society. Read the full article if you want. Link will be in the description following the termination of the broadcast. And we have, on the other hand, people like Taylor Lorenz, David Kaczynski is coming out saying this is bad. And then people like Taylor Lorenz saying she felt joy over the murder of the United Healthcare CEO. Let's hop over to X and scope out this video because this is nuts. And apparently she had already been following this dude before the incident even took place.
I do believe in the sanctity of life, and I think that's why.
I believe in the sanctity of life. That's why I'm joyful when people are murdered. Like, this bitch is nuts.
I do believe in the sanctity of life, and I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy at a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not
Blonde chick
empathy.
is like, are you fucking
Because
kidding
again,
me?
We're watching the footage. How can this make you joyful?
Certainly not empathy.
This guy's a husband, he's a father, and he's been gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Thousands of Americans that he murdered. So are the tens of thousands of Americans, innocent Americans, who died because greedy health insurance executives like this one push policies of denying care to the most vulnerable people. And the many millions of Americans that have watched people that I care about suffer and in some cases die because of lack of health care.
So should they all be killed then? Should they all be killed, these healthcare executives? Would that make you even more joyful?
No, that would not.
But why not?
And,
why are you laughing?
I think because it wouldn't fix the
You seem to find the whole thing hilarious.
I find your question funny.
A bloke's been murdered in the street. I don't find it funny at all.
I don't find it funny that tens of thousands of Americans die every year and because they are denied life-saving health care from people like the CEO. Now, I want to fix the system.
Omega Directive. Yeah, and if you want to fix the system, there's a thing called legal recourse. You don't just go murdering people.
You're right. We shouldn't be going around shooting each other with vigilante justice. No. I think that it is a good thing that this murder has led to America, or really the media elites and politicians in this country paying attention to this issue for the first time. You mentioned you couldn't understand why somebody would feel this reaction when they watched a CEO die. It's because you have not dealt, it sounds like, with the American healthcare system in the way that millions of other Americans have.
I've dealt with the healthcare system in various ways in America. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but the idea that I would view it as something.
Have you been denied life saving?
Hang on, the idea that
Bulldozer, Toyn in the chat, avocado with a $2 rant. Thanks, brother. Saying 87-year-old Taylor Lorenz needs to sit down and shut the fuck up. Liberal white women are a problem. Didn't expect peers to drop an F-bomb. Yeah. Everybody needs to fire Taylor Lorenz. We need to pass a constitutional amendment to deport Taylor Lorenz. That's right, Omega Directive. She should be deported straight to Syria. Straight to Syria. Thanks again, Bill Dozer. I enjoyed the portion of the show I was able to hang out for last night. Don't forget, Bill Dozer broadcasts Monday and Thursday, 9:30 Central, covering all the clown world clusterfuck chaos at the Dozer Den. Sign up. Or not sign up, but hit that follow button over at BillDozer74 and become a little killdozer, part of the Dozer Den. We love the Dozer Den. We love Bill Dozer. Let's wrap this video up.
I would view it as something joyful that a man has been, who's just a healthcare executive, has been executed in the street. I find completely bizarre.
Yeah, she's a fucking psychopath. That's some straight up psychopath energy here. Here's a video from Shipwreck. Thanks, Ed, for sending this one over. If you're gobbling up the story of Luigi Mangione as fact, Luigi Mangione, I've got some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you. Let's take a look at her video here. Oh, I see the eyebrows.
One of these things is not like the other. Lots of these things are not adding up. Who the fuck is that? Well, that, my friends, is Luigi Mangione, and that photo was taken in the McDonald's to which he was arrested at right before he was arrested, where the person that thought he was the killer of the CEO of United Health recognized him by his eyebrows. It was like, bro, look at them eyebrows, that's gotta be the guy. Good kid, great student, good family, went to a private school, cost $4,000 some odd dollars.
All right, let's take a look over here. So they are very similar. We see this angle over here. It could be the dimensionality of the bridge of the nose from the angle in the first picture that makes the eyebrow look different. We do see a slight uptick right at the corner of the brow, as we see right here. The last bits of hair could be blocked by the ridge of the nose in the photograph here because it's taken from an angle. I don't think it's definitive yet. But I definitely understand how people are saying this does not look like the same dude in terms of the eyebrows.
Bro, look at them eyebrows. That's got to be the guy. Good kid, great student, good family, went to a private school, cost $4,000 some odd dollars a month, went to school and got his master's and his bachelor's degree in techie stuff. Social, friendly, loved his sister. Then ghosted everybody about 3 or so months ago and then came out and is now the accused unaliver.
If peeing your pants is cool, consider Luigi Mangione. Miles Davis.
Of the CEO of United Health. The man who calmly walked up in broad daylight in front of every CCTV camera available in the area, in front of hundreds of witnesses, and pew-pewed that man, who was then eventually caught and arrested, and then was so scared about being arrested he wet his pants, calm, cool, and collected while delivering the act, but then scared to shit when he has to. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Side note, can we talk a little bit about why McDonald's is getting all this free advertising the last year? Found him at the McDonald's and he had like $2,000
liquor giant, killing it today,
and like $4,000 United States currency, but the backpack he was carrying when he did the act was full of Monopoly money. Also, when he was arrested, he happened to have the firearm and his entire manifesto talking about how much he hated corporate America and basically United Health on him.
I think the six-pack was before the back injury, which was only 6 months ago, Monty. But yeah, for real. It looked like the screws that were put in were in like the very lower lumbar region. Maybe he can't even get a boner as a result of that, which could be aggravating.
Still, that's a terrible.
If he can't have sex, can't even, handle himself, that might be really frustrating.
Bad guy. Listen, I've watched enough Scooby-Doo to know that that's a terrible, terrible bad guy. And depending on who's reporting
that's
it,
right,
where
Dirk.
the information's coming from, oh boy, it looks different in every single photo. And the cops
that was
really
a solid six-pack, though.
There was no doubt
superhero
about it. We
level.
didn't have to think twice. We knew that was our guy. Look at the eyebrows. Swiftly, social media took him down, but X did end up putting his account back up, so you can go see his X account. And reportedly on his YouTube channel, they had a countdown that said, if you're seeing this, I've already been under arrest. And this whole thing is just.
Did I say superhero level abs? Is Marine level abs, Monty. Those are some serious abs. No doubt.
On his YouTube channel, they had a countdown that said, if you're seeing this, I've already been under arrest. And this whole thing is just fucking weird. Family and friends were like, there's no way. One of his friends, I think, came out and was like, you got this completely wrong. This is completely upside down. There's no way he did this. A lot of the speculation is that he had back surgery and it left him in a lot of pain. And that's why
Tupac got shot in the nuts.
Because they weren't covering it or whatever. His friend RJ confirmed that, yeah, he had back surgery, but he never talked about ungaze or violence or anything. Can't make any sense of it. Can we talk about the fact that he was arrested in Pennsylvania and it was only about an hour and a half away from the place, Butler County, where Donald Trump, the attempted assassination of Donald Trump had happened? What is going on with Pennsylvania? This guy was arrested in Pennsylvania. Donald Trump's attempted assassination was in Pennsylvania. When Biden went to Pennsylvania to campaign, that's where he put on the MAGA hat and took a photo with all them MAGA kids. Pennsylvania, what you not letting us know about? Something in the water? What you got? And if you don't know who this girl over here is, her name is Taylor Lorenz, and she is an investigative journalist, and she writes articles for WAPO, and she did write articles from Vox, but Vox just let her go because she went on this like 3-day rant about how happy she was that old boy
She's
right
the worst. Oh, they just let her go? Nice.
Kind of gross. Like, I get what you guys are saying about, it's payback and play stupid games, win stupid. I get that. But she took it to like this whole other level. She was like gleeful and joyful.
I'm sure some people like that liquor giant.
The most fucked up part Taylor Lorenz is, before his X account went super mega viral, she was following him. I'm sorry. We're gonna ask Taylor Lorenz some questions because it's seriously, she did this interview with Piers Morgan this morning. She's just like, oh my God, it's so awesome. And she was following him. I believe anything that is happening with this whole situation. Listen, I've got oceanfront property in Arizona. I'd love to sell you. Oceanfront property in Arizona. Love me some George Strait. Probably I'll just.
Yeah, this whole.
It's probably all fine.
This whole situation is highly, highly bizarre. Speaking of George Strait, I have this story from over the weekend. America's King of Country. Oh, where is it? Hold on. America's King of Country Music, George Strait, breaks the internet after he does the Trump dance at a Vegas concert. Look at this. George Strait doing the Trump dance a couple of times on Saturday night in Vegas. Scope it out.
Thank you all very much for being such a great audience tonight. I hope you had a good time. Stand and we'll see you next time. Adios. Good night, everybody.
Do it. Yeah! Oh, that's so fucked up, Monty. Glad you're not incapable of that, though. Glad you can still bang, bro. That would suck. Bulging discs, though. I got a friend with that same thing going on. One of my good friends has herniated and bulging discs all over on his back, too. Oh, that's so brutal, man. So brutal. Whew. Just makes me, cringe even imagining it. So, yep, George Strait doing the Trump dance. Let's see what's going on here.
Come on, everybody. We got some Aggies out there. I'm ashamed to say this, but this is my first time to ever be in Kyle Field. Damn! Welcome! Just invite me back. Come. It's so good to be here with Katie Offerman and Parker McCollum. Let's have another big round of applause for those two. And happy birthday, Parker. My gosh, what a day. What a place to spend your birthday, right? Man, I want to whoop so bad. But you can't whoop if you're not if you don't go to school there, right? Can I whoop one?
Greg, good. And it sucks that you have the injuries, but glad you didn't decide to grow brow.
My son said it was okay if I did that. He graduated from A&M.
Fuck yeah, Monty. I would expect no less
a lot of songs
from a Marine brother.
Tonight.
Nothing will stop you.
What a beautiful night too, right? I mean, my gosh. It's a little hot, but that's all right. Anyway, we've got some new stuff that we're going to do also. We got a new album out called, what's not out to be out in September, called Cowboys and Dreamers. So we got
Cowboys and Drinkers.
Play from that for you tonight also. We got a
Old Ida Skater. Oh no.
For you also, okay? All right, we got a lot of songs now, so what are we here for?
Boom. Boom. Love to see it. Love to see it. So good to see people waking up, man, and speaking out. In other news, in total opposite news, we have New York AG Letitia James, who is proceeding with the Trump civil fraud case. New York Attorney General Letitia James has declared she will not dismiss the ongoing $454 million civil fraud case against President-elect Donald Trump. This stance persists despite Trump's transition into the presidency, highlighting that presidents are not exempt from civil litigation. The decision comes in response to Trump's request to drop the case for what he described as, quote, the greater good of the country. Look at this loser over here. Anyone want chips? Gotta love New York AG Letitia James for refusing to drop the $454 million civil fraud judgment. I'm surprised they're not being ratioed. Benny Johnson saying she's refusing to drop the civil fraud case, saying presidents aren't immune. She rejects the request. New York AG correctly says presidents have zero immunity. Fuck, man. This is so frustrating. And we also have Alvin Bragg, planning to keep the Trump case alive. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who had a Biden DOJ plant, I believe Michael Colangelo, in his legal case against former President Donald Trump, is trying to ensure his hush money case doesn't vanish into thin air as Trump prepares for his return to the White House. According to court filings revealed Tuesday, Bragg's office is fiercely opposed to dismissing the case outright, but is open to pausing proceedings while Trump serves his second term as president. The 82-page legal brief, prosecutor's most detailed argument yet, stops short of recommending an explicit course of action, but outlines several ways to keep the case alive. Among them, delaying the sentencing until after Trump leaves office in 2029, or freezing the case while leaving the jury's verdict intact, The Hill reports. Quote, "The extreme remedy of dismissing the indictment and vacating the jury verdict is not warranted in light of multiple alternative accommodations that would fully address the concerns raised by presidential immunity," wrote Assistant DA Christopher Conroy. The filing comes as Trump, now president-elect, wages a legal battle to quash the 34 felonies stemming from hush money payments to an adult film star. So annoying. These people are assho, man. Total assho. Let's see what we got next on the list. Alphabet, the Google stock, jumping 6% after Google touts a breakthrough quantum chip. Kif Leswing wrote this one at CNBC. Alphabet shares rose Tuesday after the company's unveiling of Willow, its latest quantum computing chip. When quantum computing matures, it's expected to be useful for large-scale simulations and code breaking, but that may not be possible for years or decades. Google's announcement was praised on social media by several technology business figures, including Elon Musk and OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. Alphabet shares rose 6% Tuesday, the day after the company hailed its quantum computing chip as a breakthrough. The Google parent company on Monday revealed Willow. Let's check it out. Google claims quantum computing milestone, but the tech can't yet solve real-world problems. Pretty cool. Willow, a quantum computing chip that the company said performed significantly better on a quantum computing benchmark than its predecessor did in 2019. Willow, like similar quantum chips, uses uncertain qubits, quantum bits, to represent numbers instead of transistors, which are used on traditional semiconductors. Google said its technology can reduce expected errors faster than they appear as quantum chips get bigger, which has been a bottleneck in the development of better quantum computers. Willow is the second milestone in a 6-step strategy to develop quantum computers that can perform useful applications, Google said. The chip has about 100 qubits, but Google is planning to eventually build a system with 1 million qubits. 1 million qubits. Quote, "Willow brings us closer to running practical, commercially relevant algorithms that can't be replicated on conventional computers," Google wrote in a blog post, adding that the experiment is evidence that suggests that reality is comprised of parallel universes. "We see Willow as an important step in our journey to build a useful quantum computer with practical applications in areas like drug discovery, fusion energy, battery design, and more," Google CEO Sundar Pichai's asso said on X. When quantum computing matures, it is expected to be useful for large-scale simulations and code breaking, but that may not be for possibly years or decades. Google isn't the only tech giant working on quantum computing. NVIDIA, Microsoft, and IBM are also working on the technology, in addition to researchers at startups and universities. Google's announcement was praised on social media by several technology business figures, including the ones we mentioned. Quote, "We should do a quantum cluster in space with Starship one day," Pichai replied to Musk. Google's asshole, but I don't know what that means, but that sounds fucking cool. A quantum cluster in space. Sign me up. Isn't Willow a terrible halfling sorcerer? Willow. Is that the chick played by Amy something or other, who was on Big Bang Theory? Really funny show if you haven't seen it. But yeah, pretty crazy. Google unveils Willow quantum computing chip. We also, right as I was going live, I saw that Loy Brunson of the infamous Brunson Supreme Court case that could delegitimize Joe Biden and like 80% of Congress. Live right now, or at least was a little while ago, on the Blessed to Teach show on Rumble. Let's reload this and see what's going on. 80% of Congress being replaced. Bible study. Blessed to Teach show, December 10th.
Whipping, etc. Minutes.
Like we're just getting a 30-second long video at this point. They must have ended the live and it's processing at this current moment. But this is out there. They're talking about the case on the show. Maybe we'll play some of the video tomorrow. But the link to this will be in the description after the broadcast in case you guys want to go check it out tonight. Amy Farrah Fowler. Thanks, JJR SVL. Make sure to sub to JJR SVL on Rumble as well. Computers in space have no heating issues. Wow, that's a really good point, Liquor Giant. Really good point. There's this really cool show called Pantheon on Paramount Plus, or one of these pluses you can find on the internet and other places if you want to. But it's all about this type of stuff as well. Really interesting show. I watched it recently after being recommended by Crypto Kid, Red Crypto. Really good show. Really good show. Check that out, Pantheon. Let's move on to our next one since we can't get the Lloyd Brunson video. Just in, top Democrat on the Ethics Committee. On the Ethics Committee, outed as leaker of Gates report. Why is she still on the Ethics Committee? Looks like a crazy clown. Rep. Susan Wild, the top Democrat on the House Ethics Committee, has been outed as the leaker of the Matt Gaetz report. The House Ethics Committee was going to release a, quote, damaging, unquote, report on Matt Gaetz last month, but because he resigned from Congress, the committee lost jurisdiction. The demon rats on the committee fiercely worked to release the report amid the damaging leaks. Parts of Gaetz' report were selectively leaked to the media, and a, quote, hacker, unquote, also obtained a trove of documents from the, quote, damaging, unquote, report. The House Ethics Committee's years-long investigation into Matt Gaetz over allegations of sexual misconduct ended after the lawmaker resigned from Congress. Gateway Pundit reported on the Ethics Committee's revival of the junk allegations against Gaetz, even after the DOJ exonerated Gaetz of criminal wrongdoing and dropped the charges February 2023. But according to The Hill, Democrat Congresswoman Susan Wild was absent from the Ethics Committee's meeting last week after being outed as the leaker. Wild's chief of staff claimed she was absent from the meeting by choice. Quote, Rep. Wild was frustrated by the manner in which the report was handled and didn't feel it was fruitful to participate in any further meetings on its, quote, potential, unquote, release, characterizing it as anything more as inaccurate. There will be no further statement, Rep. Wild's chief of staff, Jed Ober, told The Hill, who reported Rep. Susan Wild, Pennsylvania, the top demon rat on the House Ethics Committee, was absent from the panel's meeting last week after being traced as the source of leaks to the press regarding the investigation into former Rep. Matt Gaetz. FBI sources told The Hill it remains unclear if Wild voluntarily skipped the Thursday gathering or was asked not to attend, what information she leaked and to whom, and how the panel tracked her back as being the leaker. Two sources said Wild ultimately acknowledged to the panel that she had leaked the information. Rep. Veronica Escobar, Democrat of Texas, served as acting ranking member during Thursday's meeting, according to a source who noted that any time a member of the panel is absent, there is an acting ranking member in their place. It also remains unclear if the Pennsylvania demon rat, who's leaving Congress at the end of the year, will be present at Ethics Committee meetings in the future. Rep. Michael Guest, Republican from Missouri or Mississippi, not sure which one, MISS, the chair of the panel, told reporters that Thursday's meeting was not the last for the group. So the leaker has allegedly been outed. Next, let's check in with Bill Shatner and Bill Maher. William Shatner and Bill Maher discussing doing mushrooms in Amsterdam at a smart shop, probably.
I went to Amsterdam with my wife just for the purposes of seeing what the drug situation was like. We were in London.
What year are we talking about?
10 years ago. We flew to Amsterdam. It was in the winter, so they're selling it on the street. So we
Thanks, guys.
We smoked a little, and we got some mushrooms that we took back to the room, and we ate them. And then I was sure there was a head of a lizard coming out of the wall. Okay?
Hey, that's no way to talk about your wife.
Oh!
she got up off the wall. That's funny. That's the funniest thing you've ever said. And I'm not stoned.
That was funny. Police words too.
She speculated on world peace, and I was transfixed by these monsters coming out of the wall. So that was like scared me to death. I never want to do it
Listen,
again.
people. That's pretty funny. William Shatner going to a smart shop. That's what they call the mushroom shops over there. I have been to Amsterdam. I've been to smart shops. I went to the Doors. There's a smart shop / coffee shop called The Doors, where it's all like The Doors themed, the band. Pretty cool. I didn't take any mushrooms in Amsterdam, though. I was the babysitter. Not my thing. Been there, done that. Not my thing. I get sick. At least if I were to do it now, I'm sure. Let's see what we got next. Fulton County Superior Court has found Big Fanny in default. She's refused to participate in these demands for documents. The Fulton County Superior Court found District Attorney Fannie Willis in default for refusing to hand over documents in an open records lawsuit. This one is by Christina Layla. At Gateway Pundit, Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis refused to answer a public records lawsuit seeking records of her communications with Special Counsel Jack Smith. Earlier this year, conservative watchdog group Judicial Watch asked the Superior Court of Fulton County, Georgia, to declare a default judgment against Fannie Willis after she refused to respond to its lawsuit related to communications she had with Jack Smith and the sham January 6th committee. Oh, but we haven't been communicating with the White House, etc. Last year, House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan launched an investigation into whether Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis coordinated with federal officials during her years-long probe into Trump and his associates. Chairman Jordan, in his letter to Fannie Willis, you forgot a comma. Chairman Jordan, comma, in his letter to Fannie Willis, comma, requested all documents and communications between or among the Fulton County District Attorney's Office and DOJ and its components, including but not limited to the Office of Special Counsel Jack Smith, who was never actually confirmed to be special counsel by the Senate as required, allegedly referring or relating to your office's investigation of President Donald Trump or any of the other 18 individuals against whom charges were brought in the indictment. She just refused to comply. If Alex Jones gets defaulted for giving millions of documents to the court, then yeah, she should definitely be defaulted here. In reference to Jim Jordan's, this is what defaults are meant for, when people completely refuse to comply at all. No discovery, no documents provided. JJRSVL says, years ago, William Shatner went back to Amsterdam in a serial TV show, Better Late Than Never, with Henry Winkler, Terry Bradshaw. Funny as hell. That does sound funny. Gotta love Henry Winkler, man. I just hate it. I hate it with his in the Waterboy with the phone cord cut and he's talking. You think he's talking to his mom and the camera pans down and the phone cable's cut and he's wearing high heels and he's like having a mental breakdown. So good. So in referring to Jim Jordan's letter to Fannie Willis, Judicial Watch filed a Georgia Open Records Act request seeking records of her communications with Jack Smith. Fannie Willis failed to respond to Judicial Watch's lawsuit. Court found Fannie in default. Excerpt from Judicial Watch. Judicial Watch announced Tuesday that the Superior Court in Fulton County entered an order granting a motion for default judgment against District Attorney Fannie Willis and why can I not say this? Judicial Watch's lawsuit for communications Willis had with Special Counsel Jack Smith and the House January 6th committee. In doing so, the court grants Judicial Watch's request for attorney's fees and orders Willis to search for and provide releasable records to Judicial Watch within 5 business days. In May 2024, Judicial Watch asked the court to declare a default judgment, noting that Willis was served with a lawsuit in March 2024 and had, quote, not filed an answer, which was, quote, due 30 days after service. The recently issued default judgment states, quote, the court finds defendant Willis in her official capacity is in default and has been since 11th April 2024. Further, Willis, quote, never moved to open default on any basis, not even during the period when she could have opened default as a matter of right. She never paid costs, and she never offered up a meritorious defense. By finding the defendant in default, the court has, in effect, declared that she has violated the ORA. The court also hereby orders defendant to conduct a diligent search of her records for responsive materials within 5 business days of the entry of this order. Within that same 5-day period, defendant is ordered to provide plaintiff with copies of all responsive records that are not legally exempted or accepted from disclosure. If defendant is required or decides to withhold all or part of a requested record, she should follow the procedures set forth in ORA. If the records are stored electronically, they may be produced electronically in a commonly used format such as PDF. The court expects that such production will include the correspondence identified by plaintiff in its complaint. If it does not, defendant is further ordered to provide an explanation why such correspondence does not exist in defendant's records or why it is being withheld. Beyond that, no other relief, injunctive or otherwise, is necessary at this time, to include striking defendant's answer, which is of no effect based on the court's finding of default. Fani Willis is something else. This is a quote. We've been doing this for 30 years, and this is the first time in our experience a government official has been found in default for not showing up in court to answer an open records lawsuit. This is, liquor giant Fani needs a deep probing. Not by me, though. Not by me. Judicial Watch. This is Tom Fitton saying this. Quote, Judicial Watch looks forward to getting any documents from the Fani Willis operation about collusion with the Biden administration and Nasty Nancy's Congress on her unprecedented and compromised Get Trump prosecution. And this is like a trend now. We got executive branch people in the federal government, too, just refusing to comply with subpoenas left and right. It seems like Mayorkas, Blinken, just arrest them all, man. Mandy J. Lawson. What's up, Mandy? Hope you're having a good week. Lady Hamilton Art, too. What's going on, Lady H? Salute from Connecticut to both of you. Let's check out Tom Fitton's video over here.
We've been doing this type of work for 30 plus years at Judicial Watch, and never before has a government official gone into default in such an egregious way here and be found in default by a court in what is essentially a simple open records lawsuit.
Crazy.
And it kind of shows you where
skunk.
Fani Willis's competencies are or where her corruption is, right? We've been doing this type of work for 30 plus years at Judicial.
Totally corrupt. In other interesting news, we have breaking. El Salvador has discovered $3 trillion in unmined gold. I'm moving to El Salvador. This seals the deal. Allegedly. Oh, readers adding context. Bukele speculated that it could have been $3 billion, but to date there is no specific study on deposits that supports this statement, and neither had they been presented by him. The only one made by the government shows just a few amounts, so maybe this is not exactly accurate at this point after being scrutinized. Whoa. Hold on a second, guys. I'm glitching out over here. Give me just 1 second. Yeah, this link is not working, unfortunately, with the community notes. So we'll jump to the next story. That would be cool if it was true, though. The more gold, the better, in my opinion. Yeah, Tom Arms Fitting. That's what I call him, JJR. His arms are outrageous. Rupert Murdoch loses legal bid to protect Fox News from his libtard children's. So Fox News in danger of being corrupted. Rupert Murdoch has lost a legal bid to change his family trust to protect the future of Fox News from his liberal children. The media titan, who's 93, wanted to change the family trust to hand over control of the empire to his eldest son, Lachlan, to ensure that his other children did not try and change its right-wing editorial slant. Yet, according to the New York Times, which obtained a sealed court document of the ruling, a judge in Nevada has now poured cold water over his efforts. Times reports a Nevada commissioner ruled resoundingly against Rupert Murdoch's attempt to change his family's trust to consolidate his eldest son Lachlan's control of his media empire and lock in Fox News' right-wing editorial slant, according to a sealed document obtained by the New York Times. The commissioner, Edmund J. Gorman Jr., concluded in a decision filed on Saturday that the father and son, who is head of Fox News and News Corp, had acted in, quote, bad faith, unquote, in their effort to amend the irrevocable trust which divides control of the company equally among Mr. Murdoch's 4 oldest children, Lachlan, James, Elizabeth, and Prudence after his death. The ruling was at times scathing. In one point in his 96-page opinion, Mr. Gorman characterizes the plan to change the trust as a, quote, carefully crafted charade to, quote, permanently cement Lachlan Murdoch's executive roles, unquote, inside the empire, quote, regardless of the impact such control would have over the companies or the beneficiaries, unquote, of the family trust. A lawyer for Mr. Murdoch, Adam Streisand, said Mr. Murdoch and Lachlan were disappointed with the ruling and intended to appeal. If it's his trust, why can't he just do whatever the fuck he wants with it? He's still alive and shit? I don't know. I don't know much about that type of thing. While Murdoch's son Lachlan is known to share his father's political worldview, the same cannot be said of his other children. His younger son James has been openly critical of Fox News and has repeatedly criticized his father's media empire. In the wake of the January 6 protests against the fraud that tainted the 2020 presidential election, James attacked his father's networks and said that its, quote, lies, unquote, had unleashed, quote, insidious forces. So that's fucking bullshit. Back in September, he endorsed Kamala Mamala and her ill-fated campaign for the White House by adding his name to a list of prominent business leaders supporting Harris, which they claimed was an effort to preserve American democracy. Meanwhile, his daughter Elizabeth is also known to hold left-wing views, having hosted fundraisers for Barack Hussein during the 2008 presidential election. Wow. Pure evil! Murdoch stepped down as chairman of Fox News Corporation and now serves as its chairman emeritus, with an estimated net worth of around $20 billion. Its most prominent titles include Fox News, The Wall Street Journal, New York Post, and The Times of London, mate. So, Fox News in danger. In danger. Where's the... I have one about CNN here as well. What happened to it? Let me find it real quick. Let's hop over to YouTube because I know where to find it. So if we're going to talk about Fox News in trouble, let's talk about CNN in trouble as well over on Next News Network. Let's see. Bombshell. $1 billion ruling to bankrupt CNN.
And our
Let's start this from the top where he talks about this particular topic.
Tonight, a Navy veteran named Zachary Young is doing what millions of Americans have dreamed of. He's taking down CNN. When a Florida judge ruled that Young could seek punitive damages, it wasn't just a legal decision, it was the beginning of the end for the most trusted name in news. But here's what they're desperately trying to hide. This is not an isolated incident. From Kyle Rittenhouse to Nick Sandmann, CNN's empire has been built on a foundation of lies. Now, as Allison Camerota jumps ship and ratings plummet to historic lows, one question remains: are we watching the final collapse of America's propaganda machine? And now, in today's digital battlefield, your devices face unprecedented threats, malware attacks of...
Let's skip to the advertisement for virtualshield.com.
You can active engagement. Now let's take a 24th here.
Gary Franchi, though, this guy's the man. He was the Restore the Republic PAC during the 2008 Ron Paul election. I think he was good friends with Aaron Russo, who released the America from Freedom to Fascism documentary.
Actually published on June 24th, but it gives us some really good background into what happened today. Okay.
Faux news.
Zachary Young.
We need to just completely abandon the entire legacy media. Bye-bye Fox, bye-bye CNN, bye-bye NBC, CBC, ABC, MSNBC, just bye-bye all of you. We can handle this over on Rumble.
Look at this. Zachary Young is seeking damages that could exceed $1 billion for a story that aired on CNN on Jake Tapper's show. Listen to this.
It's very.
Give us some of the details of this, because there, it's one thing to smear Joe Blow and some other Politico, but these were people who I think were acting in a heroic manner, an organization that was extracting people after the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. Can you fill us in?
Yeah, my colleague Nick Vonacaro has been doing tremendous reporting on this. He has a story out today at Newsbusters, and he'll have more coverage here throughout the week as we get closer to the debate. This dealing with
covered that one the other day, like
Zachary
a giant.
Young. He's seeking.
I think it was like a $18 billion gold find, something around there, less than half worth of the national debt, which is insane. It supposedly was the biggest gold find of all time. So yeah, China and Argentina are allegedly both finding big gold.
This reporting on this, he's a story out today at Newsbusters, and he'll have more coverage here throughout the week as we get closer to the debate. This dealing with a veteran here named Zachary Young. He's seeking damages that could total or exceed $1 billion for a story on CNN that aired during Jake Tapper's show.
He does, Mandy.
That alleged that he was basically engaged in shamming, ripping off people trying to escape Afghanistan during the debacle that was the Joe Biden withdrawal from Afghanistan. During discovery, which was granted by a judge down in Florida, they found text messages between correspondent Alex Marquardt, who had the story on Jake Tapper's show, and other producers that a lot of expletives, saying that they were going to nail this guy, when really that wasn't the case at all. In fact, this guy's clients included competition of CNN, people like Bloomberg that helped extract people from Afghanistan, saying that he was really ripping people off when, again, he wasn't doing anything of the sort. It's so damaging that a story that ran on Jake Tapper's show did not get a web version. A lot of these segments that are on television then get uploaded to the network's website as a separate blog, and article, and video, just trimmed to that segment. That wasn't the case in this segment because the editors at CNN.com knew that this was bad. They even in discovery admitted that it really didn't answer the question of whether he scammed anyone. So when you put a chyron on CNN saying Afghans trying to flee black markets, exorbitant fees, no guarantee of safety or success, and you're talking about someone who's not doing any of that, that sounds like defamation to me. And as you point out, Mr. Young here is not a public figure. He's not a member of Congress. He's not you or I. He's a private citizen.
Yeah, this guy must be taking a break from making toys for Santa. Is that what's going on here?
Living a private life. Obviously, in defense military contracting, it's very much under the radar. So for them to make these claims publicly about him and only give him a few hours for comment, whereas we gave CNN days to respond, which they did not, shows that, they really had an axe to grind with this private citizen. And as Nick has reported in our piece at Newsbusters, it has caused tremendous financial and emotional damage to Mr. Young.
$1 billion is what we're talking about here. Oh, yes.
Scotty.
CNN is on the hot seat. But who can remember this? This is all.
And it's not just this guy suing. There's a whole bunch of lawsuits for big money against CNN. He's going to cover a couple here.
They are attacking everybody. Remember what they did to North Carolina Republican gubernatorial nominee, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson? He filed a $50 million defamation suit against CNN.
Potentially putting governor and gubernatorial candidate Mark Robinson
has
filed a defamation suit against CNN. What does this mean, and what's just the latest there?
So, Macy, let me first say this is a tricky one, because if you've watched any court proceedings, even the person suing is potentially putting themselves in a position to be scrutinized.
Both lives matter, guys.
All aspects of a person's life, not just the topic at hand. So Robinson did file a $50 million defamation of character lawsuit against CNN, the network. And for those who are just catching up on this, there were some pretty disturbing claims that came out about Robinson about a month or so ago that showed some comments he may or may not have made on porn sites, calling himself a black Nazi, saying he supported slavery.
Yeah, it sounds totally realistic.
Several other derogatory comments. CNN then reported those findings, and now he's suing them. Robinson, by the way, Macy, he's the first black person to secure a major party nomination for the office of governor in North Carolina. So this is something else that I will continue to follow closely.
$50 million lawsuit against CNN. Here is Larry Elder. Back in October, Donald Trump has sued cable TV network CNN, claiming defamation, seeking punitive damages of $475 million. Donald Trump, this is October 5th of 2022.
Said nothing at all. Just now, Donald Trump has announced filing a $475 million defamation lawsuit against
Is
CNN.
he the current lieutenant governor?
The lawsuit makes a number of allegations.
Couldn't remember.
One of them is that Donald Trump was accused of pushing the big lie about 2020. And CNN said nothing at all about people who were Democrats pushing the big lie about 2016, or Stacey Abrams pushing the big lie about her 2018 election, or Jimmy Carter saying that Donald Trump was put there because of the Russians. And it also mentioned that in the lawsuit that Donald Trump has been compared repeatedly to Nazis, to Hitler. We're going to talk about the lawsuit, 29 pages of lawsuit, which I went over, so you don't have to. Maybe someday they'll make a movie out of it.
So CNN, you guys know this. They've got a history of making up news.
Yep, they need to be obliterated. Everybody needs to sue the hell out of him. He also talks about Nick Sandmann, we remember that, and potentially Kyle Rittenhouse going after them as well. Back to work you go, JJRSVL. Don't worry, we'll be here when you're on your next break, I'm sure. Hope you're having a good shift, bro. All right, let's see what we got next. Remember I talked about this, guys. I had this idea to capture the movement of the waves of the ocean to cultivate electricity. Well, apparently Israel is doing that, not in the manner that I had envisioned, but in another manner. Israeli wave energy project draws interest from Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and even Iran. Echo Wave Power officially launches grid-connected demonstration model in Jaffa. Whoa, that's interesting, like right out of Stargate. Plans 2 more for Los Angeles and Taiwan. Commercial scale rollout in Portugal. This is the type of good renewable type of energy. Think about it. The ocean is just moving constantly around the entire planet. If you could harness the movement of the waves, you could get tons and tons of power, and it will never stop as long as the moon keeps drawing the ocean towards it. So it would be, if you could figure out a way to do this on a large scale without interfering with the natural environment, it could be really cool. An Israeli company, Eco Wave Power, who's pioneering ocean wave energy technology, has attracted interest from countries with which Israel currently has no diplomatic relations, including Iran, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, has formally opened its demonstration project at the Jaffa port with its significant strategic partner, EDF Renewables Israel. The technology, designed to use existing infrastructure such as breakwaters, piers, and jetties, is mainly onshore or near shore. The only parts in contact with the water are large floaters. So capture motion in nature efficiently. Braverman sets the company apart from the vast majority of wave energy projects which have been built out at sea at high cost and with stationary infrastructure exposed to the punishing might of the waves. They have struggled to deploy because of the price and survivability, she said. President Isaac Herzog attended the Jaffa Port's project launch, which was delayed for over a year because Braverman and her partners thought a ceremony inappropriate at the height of a war. Cutting the ribbon were Environmental Protection Minister Idid Silman, Tel Aviv Jaffa Mayor Ron Huldai, Ayalon Venice, CEO of EDF Renewables Israel, and Yaron Klein, CEO of Adarim, which manages facilities along the Tel Aviv-Jaffa coast. Invitees included visitors from Vietnam, the Philippines, China, and the U.S., with 100 kilowatts of installed capacity, capable of powering 100 homes. This is Israel's first wave energy project to be connected to the grid. It is intended to demonstrate that the technology, piloted in Gibraltar over several years, works, and that the infrastructure doesn't break down during storms, during which the floaters are raised above the water surface. This is exactly what I thought. buoys going up and down, cranking pistons connected to motors. I came up with this idea in like 2009, but I was a little bit late to try to implement it. Additional 100 kilowatt demonstration projects are planned for ports in LA and Taiwan. This is great. This is cool. After the ceremony, Braverman told the Times of Israel that the technology becomes profitable, quote, once it reaches megawatt scale. Let's check out this video.
With awareness of climate change increasing, more companies are looking for greener ways to produce energy. Wind and solar are becoming more common, but there's another, less familiar source of energy: ocean waves. Ina Braverman is the founder and CEO of Eco Wave Power, a company that specializes in ocean wave technology.
So the company was established in 2011, and the main goal of the company was to really create commercially viable wave energy technology.
Ocean wave technology has been around for a bit, but it was mainly experimented with 4 to 5 kilometers offshore. This presented challenges, including cost, reliability, insurability, and environmental disruption.
Monty, heading out for the evening. Catch you on the flip side, brother. Boom! I hope you have a kick-ass night. We'll be back tomorrow for Hump Day, aka Trump Day.
Eco Wave Power developed a system that operates from the shore and avoids many of those problems. Floaters are attached to existing structures along the shoreline, such as concrete piers or jetties.
Genius.
The floaters move up and down with the waves. The motion moves a piston that compresses hydraulic fluid. When that fluid is released from an accumulator, the energy goes to a hydraulic motor that turns an electric generator and produces clean electricity. These systems can last over 20 years and are pre-programmed for rough weather.
When the waves are too high for the system to handle, the floaters automatically rise above the water level, and they lock in the upward position until the storm passes.
Response to the technology has been good, netting the company recognition in December's United Nations Awards. EcoWave currently has test sites in Israel and Gibraltar. Those are only the beginning.
Next goal is to commercialize the technology, so basically prove not only that we overcame the 4 main challenges, but also that we're proving that we can build it in large scale and become profitable.
More than 2 billion people live within 100 kilometers of a coast, making the potential for this type of technology immense. With global attitudes starting to shift in regard to climate change, Braverman has hope for the future of greener energy.
I'm in a position.
There have been other ideas as well. They have propellers that are installed down like in New York area by Manhattan, where the propellers spin one direction when the tides are coming in, then they spin the other direction when the tides are coming out. So they're constantly capturing the movement, the energy from the tides. But this one could be implemented at a much larger scale, I think.
Energy.
I'm in a position where people actually care. If we look a few years backwards, I think people cared all the time, but they didn't really understand what is the immediate impact that is being caused by the pollution. Now, with new studies that are being published all the time, I think now that we're seeing actually the real consequences also in terms of natural disasters, floods and earthquakes and fires. So I think given the significant amount of these events, people are starting to see that the impact is immediate. And there is a great connection between how you produce your energy today to how you would live your life tomorrow.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. This will happen with what Eco Wave Power believes will be the world's first commercial scale wave power project to be built in Porto, Portugal. The 20 megawatt project will power over 20,000 households. I'm sure there'll be ways, Donna, to make it less of an eyesore once this is developed better. This is just like prototype designs. They can probably encase them completely to make them, blend in, I imagine. Braverman said she hopes the profitability of the Porto project would open the door to bank finance, the lack of which has been the obstacle to major deployment. Financing options ranged from strategic partnerships to grants and equity, but 80% of funding from a bank was needed for a significant commercial rollout. So this is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Full article will be linked in the description if you want to read more. Check out more of the dirty details. Let's see what we got next. On the list, we have a good call by Time Magazine as they name Caitlin Clark as the Athlete of the Year. That's pretty indisputable, right? There's nobody in the past year who's made a splash anywhere near Caitlin Clark. So this is pretty cool. Time Magazine names women's basketball phenom Caitlin Clark Athlete of the Year in 2024. Caitlin Clark Effect. 2,366 fans turned out in July to watch Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever take on the Las Vegas Aces at the T-Mobile Arena. This was the largest crowd to see a WNBA game in 25 years. This was also the most attended sporting event at the T-Mobile Arena in history. Breaking all the records, pushing the boundaries, outshooting Pistol Pete. So this is really, really earned, in my opinion. Good to see, especially with how poorly she's been treated by the WNBA. So good to see it like that. Let's jump into our next topic. We got Donald J. Trump over on Truth Social saying any person or company investing $1 billion or more in the United States of America will receive fully expedited approvals and permits, including, but in no way limited to, all environmental approvals. Get ready to rock. Oh, they're going to spin this one bigly, saying Trump doesn't care about the environment. But he does, so it's a lie. Let's go to our next topic over here from Gateway Hispanic. FBI now warning Android and iPhone users to stop sending text messages to each other. After it made a large-scale telecommunications breach in the U.S. attributed to Chinese hackers. This incident is linked to a cyber attack by the Chinese Communist Party named Salt Typhoon, described as the worst telecommunications hack in U.S. history.
The FBI is now warning Android and iPhone users to stop sending text messages to each other amid a large-scale telecommunications breach in the U.S. by Chinese hackers. This is related to a CCP cyber attack that's been dubbed Salt Typhoon, which was also called the worst telecom hack in our nation's history. Now, the deeper details of the attack are not being disclosed publicly. We don't really know the full breadth of it. But it has been previously revealed that the CCP's hackers have even used it to target the mobile devices of top politicians, including President-elect Donald Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance. And the CCP agency allegedly involved in this is really important. This is tied in with the regime's Ministry of Public Security. That's the CCP branch that runs the overseas secret police stations, and by extension of that, the CCP agency that would tie into its United Front work. That means operations for blackmail, bribery, and to compromise targets within the United States. And aside from the possible leak of classified information to the communist regime, the nature of this breach could also see the Chinese Communist Party's overseas special agents trying to use this stolen information to launch targeted influence campaigns against Americans, or to even use the regime's networks.
Crazy stuff. Yeah, good question, T-folks. Who makes all of these phones? Who indeed? So this is going on. Meanwhile, the State Department is scrambling to scuttle $100 million censorship network before Trump takes office. By Tyler Durden over at Zero Hedge, the State Department revealed in a Monday filing that they are, quote, substantially likely, unquote, to shut down their $100 million Global Engagement Center, GEC, which was revealed in early 2023 to have been funding a, quote, disinformation tracking group, which worked to pressure advertisers to demonize outlets it accuses of spreading disinformation. That is the government directly intervening against free speech. There needs to be massive, massive class action lawsuits against the GEC and these advertising companies that participated in these boycotts, except they're really just, quote, realigning, unquote, the, quote, center's staff and funding to other department offices and bureaus for foreign information manipulation. So they're going to be just dispersing this GEC into other locations to make it more difficult to destroy for Trump. Free Castle! What's up, Free Castle? Good to see ya. Make sure to subscribe to Free Castle on Rumble for daily broadcasts. Boom! Thanks for being here, bro. So, let's hop over to this X post. Margot Cleveland clears throat. December 6th, 2024. The department transmitted a notification to Congress regarding its plan for the forthcoming termination of the GEC and its plan to realign the center's staff and funding to other department offices and bureaus for foreign information manipulation and interference activities in the event that the termination is not extended. So they're being sneaky about this, trying to continue it by breaking it into pieces and keeping it active among other little parts of the government, it seems. State Department provides notice to Congress of shuttering the Global Engagement Center, or GEC, and reassignment of its employees. The move comes amid a lawsuit from Texas AG Ken Paxton and several other conservative media outlets listed a GEC-funded, quote, dynamic exclusion list of websites it doesn't like, which it would then distribute to ad tech companies such as Microsoft's Xandr in order to try and, quote, defund and downrank these worst offenders and deprive said sites of ad revenue. This was the model they pioneered in like 2010 when they disallowed Alex Jones from partaking in Google AdSense and AdRoll.
This idea that ISIS was recruiting on Facebook and Twitter gave a license to the State Department to create this thing called the Global Engagement Center, which was really the first official censorship capacity in the U.S. government. It predated the DHS stuff that would come along in the Trump era. And this gave the State Department the direct back channel, the direct coordinating capacity with all the social media companies to.
The FTC could also go after these guys, like we heard the new FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, the new FTC guy that's incoming, say that they're going to be going after these advertisers. So this could be a major antitrust thing as they collude in secret to, or they not even in secret, they collude with the government to all make the same decisions about who to promote and who not to promote, who doesn't get to get advertising. This is a cartel. This is antitrust. So hopefully this is like these companies are obliterated as well, because this is all corrupt bullshit.
To tell them about ISIS accounts, ISIS narratives that were trending. The Pentagon poured hundreds of millions of dollars into developing a technique called natural language processing, which is a way to use AI to scan the entire internet for keywords. And you would have these academic researchers effectively constructing code books of language. What do ISIS advocates or supporters talk like? What words do they use? What prefixes and suffixes? This whole lexicon is then conjoined with the ingested sum of all of their tweets and transcribed YouTube videos and Facebook posts. And then suddenly the State Department is a real-time heat map of everyone who is likely to be or hits a certain confidence level of being suspected to support ISIS. That was 2014 to 2016, set up by this guy, Rick Stengel, who described himself as Obama's propagandist in chief. He's now on the advisory board of NewsGuard, one of the largest censorship mercenary firms in the world. But he described himself as a free speech maximalist because before he started this, he was the Undersecretary of State for Public Diplomacy. He started this censorship center. He was the former managing editor of Time magazine.
Hence the name of the show.
So he's talked about how he used to be a free speech maximalist back when he was in the media, and media companies benefited from that. But when Trump won the election in 2016, he became convinced that actually the First Amendment was a mistake. He actually openly advocated in the Washington Post in an op-ed that we effectively end the First Amendment, that we copycat Europe's laws. And then he wrote a whole book on it. This is the guy who started effectively the country's first censorship center. But then they did a really cute trick. They went from counterterrorism to counterpopulism. Now, we've always had this ability since the 1940s to interfere in the domestic affairs of foreign governments or foreign countries to topple communist countries. This was the whole
OSS,
Cold War counter-communism work of the CIA. and the State Department. But that was primarily targeting left-wing communists or left-wing socialists or left-wing populist-run countries. When Trump won the election in 2016, this is one of the reasons I think Republicans.
It's convoluted because the CIA and the OSS basically gave Eastern Europe to the communists in World War II. It was we were working with the communists openly, so it's all like smoke and
Were so
mirrors.
slow to move on all this. They had never experienced the brunt of the intelligence state against the mainline GOP, or at least the in-power Trump faction of the GOP, in the way that Democrats did.
Just FYI, in case you didn't know this, there was a Holocaust even larger than the Holocaust, as the U.S. and the U.K. shipped tens of millions of people after World War II, after Germany was conquered, from Germany to be murdered in the Russian Gulag death camps. More people than died in the Holocaust we sent over there to Russia to be slaughtered in the death camps.
In the 1960s and 70s, when the CIA was actively interfering in Democrat Party politics to try to tilt them away from the anti-Vietnam movement and more into the sort of limousine liberal international interventionist neoliberal camp. And so in 2016, the Global Engagement Center pivoted from being counterterrorism to counterpopulism, arguing that right-wing populist governments, it wasn't just right-wing, they were also against left-wing populists, but they simply never rose to power in the way that Trump did in the U.S., Bolsonaro did in Brazil, Matteo Salvini did in Italy, Marine Le Pen almost did in France, Nigel Farage was on his way to in the UK and the Brexit referendum, the AfD party in Germany, the Vox party in Spain. In 2016, they were afraid that social media, rising all of these right-wing populist parties to power, would effectively collapse the entire rules-based international order unless there was international censorship, because Brexit would give rise to Frexit if Marine Le Pen won, and she was massively overpowered on social media versus Macron. If, as I mentioned, Italy, Germany, there was going to be not just Brexit, there's going to be Frexit, Spexit, Italexit, Grexit, Gorexit. So the entire EU would come undone, which would mean all of NATO would come undone, which would mean there's no enforcement arm for the IMF or the World Bank or international creditors, which would mean it would be like the ending scene of Fight Club, where the credit card company buildings all collapse just because you're allowed to shitpost on the internet. And they talked about that quite openly in 2017 as they were creating this whole censorship infrastructure.
As headline news is Ken Silva notes further, it's unclear how the GEC's closure will affect the lawsuit. Monday's court filing said lawyers for all parties are still discussing the implications. There should be no implications. You should still be able to sue them because they did stuff when they existed. Doesn't seem that complicated. Elon Musk put the GEC on the map in March 2023 when he deemed it to be the, quote, worst offender in U.S. government when it comes to censorship and media manipulation. According to revelations from the Twitter files, a trove of internal records about the censorship decisions made within the social media company, the GEC funded groups such as the Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Research Lab, which in turn compiled blacklists of Twitter accounts that were supposedly tied to foreign disinformation campaigns. The Digital Forensic Research Lab sent those blacklists to Twitter so that the company could deactivate the accounts listed. And so you guys get the gist. Hopefully this lawsuit can go through so the precedent can be set that this can never be allowed to happen again. Next, let's jump over to New York for another ridiculous story, a fractal microcosm of the whole concept of Keynesian deficit financing monetary policy. New York Governor Kathy Hochul to hand out $300 checks to taxpayers in order to fight inflation. So you're going to fight inflation by inflating? It's the whole reason for the boom and bust cycle when you print more money, go more in debt to temporarily boost the economy, and then it trickles down into the system, weakening the economy, and it causes another dip. So this is just a perfect microcosm of the whole reason why Keynesian economics inherently is a failure and is unsustainable. New York Democrat Governor Kathy Hochul is apparently planning to hand out stimulus checks to taxpayers in her state to help in order to help combat inflation. It's difficult to see how a one-time check for $300 to $500 would help people who have been struggling financially for years now under the Biden economy, but it's something, right? Of course, the irony is that this move could actually cause more inflation. Is Hochul just trying to improve her approval numbers? Yeah, she's trying to bribe voters. The governor's office put out this press release saying, money in your pockets. Governor Hochul proposes sending 8.6 million New Yorkers an inflation refund check as first proposal of 2025 state of the state. Proposal will deliver $3 billion by taking excess sales tax revenue driven by inflation and giving that money back to everyday New Yorkers. Let's hear Kathy Hochul.
In my budget next month, they will send you a check to buy your groceries for a month or whatever you want to spend it on. And if you're an individual earning up to $150,000 a year, it's $300. What does that look like?
Looks like nothing, you fucking bitch.
All right. How about that for individuals? Now, if you're filing jointly and you have a family, you need a little more, right? Families are expensive. How about this? $500. $500 for families earning less than $300,000, because I know life in New York City is expensive and your salaries may sound nice, but they don't go very far.
And neither does $300, you fucking gremlin. Is this going to backfire? Yes. People went ham on social media. This will cause inflation. Nothing fights inflation like more government spending. Economically illiterate buffoons. Yeah, perfect Keynesians. By the way, don't newly arrived illegal aliens in New York get services that are worth far more than this? Yeah, like $10,000 on renewable monthly debit cards and shit. You've seen the receipts where they had like $13,000 in EBTs that are unused in their accounts. Like, this is insane, man. So just print more. That'll solve everything. Not. These people, man, have no idea what they're doing. We also saw what looked like to be the beginning of potentially riots resulting from the acquittal of Daniel Penny, with people marching yesterday.
Jordan Neely! Silence! Jordan Neely! What's his name? Jordan Neely!
Keep an eye out for her, Wendy. She'll show up. Sorry, can't find her. Wendy's having trouble finding her kitty, so everybody send positive vibes down to Texas for her kitty to come back. Right, Wood Geek? Insane. Make sure to sub to Wood Geek on Rumble. These people are insane, bro. It's all just racism everywhere. How about this? Wall Street Apes reporting hidden camera records Democrat Colorado Representative Chad Clifford after staff ripped apart thousands of petitions from constituents opposing an assault weapons ban. Quote, tearing them up and throwing them in the trash can. He then sides with his staff ripping them apart smugly, saying there are other ways they could have been delivered, like emailed. Oh, and then you wouldn't be able to destroy it. They were stupid and they sent it in by mail to make it more, physical and hard hitting.
Somebody gave us really nice of them. Really? Those the ones you guys were throwing away? I witnessed it actually. Yeah, you were.
These fucking criminal scumbags.
To do? Keep this on the desk all day?
Not throw them away.
Pay attention to things we didn't give a shit about, probably?
Not disrespect our constituents.
So it's good to know that Representative Clifford thinks that you guys should just throw messages from his constituents. You never gave me permission to do that. He didn't do any of that. Well, you work for him, so. All right. Well, you have a good rest of your day. Thank you. Thanks for giving us the
If you'd like to talk to Representative Clifford, I'm here.
He's right here. Let's go.
I'd love to.
By all means.
Are those from my constituents?
Yes, sir, they are.
And I'd like to see them.
Well, your aide here threw a bunch of them away.
Can you open that and see if any of those are from my constituents?
Here. Kept one of them.
That's Littleton. That's not my constituent.
Those are the ones you gave? We have a bunch of them from Centennial, Greenwood Village, all across House District 37.
If you've got stuff from my constituents, we'll take it.
Absolutely. Well, apparently your aide threw them away already. We had people that stopped by there earlier. They said they saw him tearing them up and throwing them in the trash can, which he admitted to doing.
You know, there's a much more effective way to advocate for your cause and delivering a whole bunch of papers to an office that already has.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Only there was something like email or.
Well, there's also a much more effective way to respect your constituents and not throw papers away that we're delivering.
I mean, quite frankly, if we send an email, they'd probably end up in junk anyway. I mean, we're delivering these. You're not the only one who's getting them. All 65 members of the State House are getting them. And we have...
So we'll know if you rip up more of them.
We have over 200,000 people that signed these petitions saying that they do not want an assault weapons ban. And we had gave them a promise that we were going to deliver them to every office in the Capitol. And I'm very disappointed and honestly kind of concerned that your staff thinks it's okay to throw away messages from constituents. Because these are the people that you work for. I know you weren't elected. I know you got it on a vacancy committee. So you're going to have to answer for that in November.
Yes, I will.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. Have
a good day.
Insane. Well, they could have emailed him and then we wouldn't be able to rip him up. You are a fucking scumbag. How about this? Speaking of scumbags, Liz Cheney warns that any lawyer who investigates members of the January 6th committee will be engaging in conduct subject to sanctions. Oh, really? What are you talking about? Former Congressman Liz Cheney has warned that lawyers investigating members of the January 6th committee could face sanctions. This statement comes amidst allegations from some quarters that evidence was suppressed, like a congressional report saying that they destroyed evidence or suppressed or destroyed by the committee, though those claims lack concrete evidence. Community note, we have evidence from a congressional report saying that they deleted tons of stuff and that they recovered hundreds of files. The discourse has polarized, with some social media users advocating for legal repercussions against Cheney, while others perceive the threats against the committee as an attack on its integrity. What? This is ridiculous. Oh, Adam Schiff over here, I don't think that incoming president should be threatening his opponents with jail time. He's threatening criminals with jail time, scumbag.
I don't think the incoming president should be threatening his political opponents with jail time. That's not the kind of talk we should hear from a president.
It is the exact kind of talk because he's not threatening opponents. He's threatening people who broke laws. So that's exactly what you want, is a president who will actually enforce the law, unlike you and your shitbird demon rat cronies who just let people do whatever the fuck they want.
In a democracy.
Not a democracy. It's a republic.
Nor do I think that a pardon is necessary for the members of the January 6th committee. We're proud of the work we did on that committee. It was a fundamental oversight obligation to investigate the first attempt to interfere with a peaceful transfer of power in our history. Many of you were here in this building during that violent attack, and we're
right, yeah, it's Liz Cheney who's threatening her opponents, the people who would actually hold her accountable. As a criminal, your default your opponent is law enforcement. So if the new law enforcement is coming after you for crimes, she's the one threatening her opponents. Trump isn't threatening opponents, he's threatening criminals.
We're proud of the work we did to expose what went into that once-in-history effort to interfere with the transition of power.
You did a great job.
Good call, 6. So true. So true. Losers. Real quick, let's terminate the YouTube broadcast and go Rumble and X exclusive. Just posted the link to the Rumble feed in YouTube. If you're watching this, we're going to terminate now and continue over on Rumble and X for the duration of tonight's show. So click the link, come join us where we can speak freely and where the water is warm, where we all float down here on Alt Tech. If you can't make it, we'll catch you tomorrow for our Hump Day, Trump Day special weekly episode. But until then, let's get